All right, good afternoon, Team Ivy. Welcome to week 4 of the Intersections of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging in the wake of COVID-19. This weekly Lunch and Learn series will be scheduled on each Tuesday of the month of June to build understanding of the different experiences of our students, our employees, our staff, and our communities during the COVID-19 pandemic and offer ways to build a better sense of belonging at Ivy Tech Community College. My name is Danisha Posey, and I'm the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging here at Ivy Tech. Today, we're going to hear from both Jennifer Fisher, she's Ivy Tech's Assistant Vice President of Employee Benefits, and Tracy Pruitt of TP Consulting. As we navigate mental health, mental wellness, and other disabilities during the wake of COVID-19. I was going to go through biographies, but I decided to allow both of our guest speakers to introduce themselves. So Tracy is going to start us off with a presentation on mental wellness, and then we'll end today's discussion with Jennifer as she talks about the employee benefits for Ivy Tech employees on mental health. Quick housekeeping, you are all on mute for the duration of the session. If you have a question for our speakers, please type in the chat and I will attempt to get to as many as I can during the session. I will be monitoring the chat, so don't wait until the end for your questions. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel for additional viewing, and it's also on our diversity website. So if you go to www.ivytech.edu/diversity, you'll be able to see both this recording and all of our previously recorded diversity sessions as well. All right, so without further ado, I am going to call Tracy.
Well, thank you this afternoon, Danisha. I count it an honor and a privilege to share with Ivy Tech as well as all of the other people who are on here. My name is Tracy Pruitt. I have spent the last 30 years in the helping field. I have worked as a counselor in a school district as well as owning my own consulting company for the last 4 years. I'm the president of TP Consulting. I work as an independent mental health therapist, behavioral therapist. I work with couples. My expertise, well, my area of learning, extended learning, is in behavioral management as well as couples therapy using DBT techniques, mindfulness, as well as strength-based and solution focused. I'm a mother of 5, grandmother of 2, and I'm married with a dog named Cash. So that's me.
Thank you. And Jennifer, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but could you please just tell us about your journey here at Ivy Tech? I know you've been here for 7 years now.
Sure, absolutely. I have been with the college for 7 years. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Employee Benefits, as Danisha mentioned. And so what does that mean? That means that I send you all the emails around open enrollment and around retirement. And so me and my team, we manage the benefit program, which includes the health and welfare plans, any well-being plans that we have through the Be Lively program, and the retirement program through Transamerica. And so that's what I do. That's been my gig pretty much the entire time since I've been here. I've had the opportunity to work on the strategic plan. So I recognize that a number of names and faces out here. So it's really great to see everybody and looking forward to a good discussion today.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll get right into it with Tracy's presentation. I'll bring that up now. Okay, I'm having technical difficulties. It won't allow me to share the PowerPoint. Tracy, can you screen share? Do you have it up? I'm so sorry.
Let's see. I'm having some difficulties.
This is just starting to happen to me in the past couple days, so I am going to ask Adrian, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sending it to you now. If you could help us out.
Yes, it's saying that only the host can.
Try it now.
I'm sorry, Danisha. I'm
It's okay.
having
Adrian, I just sent it to you. If you could help us out, and I made you a co-host.
Danisha, I can get started for the sake of time, and as Adrian
Go ahead.
shares.
Yep.
Okay, can we go ahead? So once
Yeah.
again, thank you. There we go. So once again, thank you for this opportunity to share with your co-workers and others that are on here. So I know today we're going to talk about managing our mental health and other disabilities intersecting with our mental health. So if we can go to the next slide, Adrian. You can, next slide, please. So one of the things, and I would like for everybody to participate as much as possible, one of the things I want to talk about is just current events. So we know that we have been inundated with COVID-19 since actually the first American died February the 8th of COVID-19. So since the end of February, beginning of March, we've been inundated with COVID-19, as well as some civil unrest in the country as of May of this year. So we've been experiencing a pandemic inside of a pandemic. So one of the things I would like for people just to do in the chat, and Danisha or Adrian, if you can share with me what's being said, just what are some of the, just one word of your feeling. What are you feeling in one word?
We have exhausted, frustrated, overwhelmed, enraged, confused, anxious, sad, burpy, stressed, uncertainty, helplessness, discombobulated, exhausted.
Okay, so I hear a lot of words that I see Isla said all the above. I think that's right, Isla, all of the above. So if we want to talk about mental health and managing our mental health, the first thing we need to talk about is emotional wellness. So I'm going to share a definition, and Adrian, I think you can click, I think we have it on the slide, but I'm going to share a definition of emotional wellness. University of California, Davis campus, I think they gave the best definition of emotional wellness. So emotional wellness inspires self-care, relaxation, stress reduction, and the development of inner strength. It is important to be attentive to both positive and negative feelings and be able to understand how to handle these emotions. Emotional wellness also includes the ability to learn and grow from experiences. Emotional wellness, well-being, encourages autonomy and proper decision-making skills. It is an important part of overall wellness. So for us to make it through this, we have to be emotionally well. And we can't just have one feeling without the other. So we have to be able to embrace the positive feelings as well as the negative ones. Adrian, you can change the slide. So you are not in this alone. This is a picture of my 17-year-old son who he's also diagnosed with autism. So when we talk about being emotionally well and managing our mental health, this is something, even as a mental health therapist, that I have had to deal with and lean into on my own. So his school, I don't know if there's other people from Indiana on here, but my son's school was the first school in Indiana to close down as a result of COVID-19. And so just him not being able to go to school, not being able to finish his track season, not being able to, well, being uncertain if he was going to be able to start football season, as well as just some challenges that he has, social challenges that he has with school. So being at home, struggling with some social awkwardness, it's been hard, as well as just me as a parent who works from home, just having to share that space, him having to start, do his schoolwork at home and not having some of his school supports, because I am not a teacher. Although I've worked in education for over 30 years, I am not a teacher. So just sharing that space with him not knowing what was going on, not being able to go see some friends. A big thing for him was not even being able to work out daily. So just working with him, trying to help him understand even why I don't understand. The next slide. So in this moment, what we're going through when we talk about this pandemic, and right now I'm coining it a pandemic inside of a pandemic, because we're in the middle of a civil unrest, as well as with COVID-19. So who do you lean on? It's very important to have people to lean on. Your faith, friends, your significant other, your partner, having those people to lean on. Also, maybe coworkers. Several people are working from home or teleworking. Myself, I'm a teletherapist now. So not having people around you, not having people in your space. So finding those people to lean on, to talk to share with is very important, that that you have this for each other, that you have it for yourself, and that you're able to do that for each other, because we all are experiencing different things, different days, as we saw in the chat earlier. So as we move on, and Adrian, you can change the slide. We're going to talk about the brain and the stress and what happens. So the brain, we have the prefrontal cortex. That's the variety of complex behavior. That's your planning part of the brain. That's the part of the brain that you plan, you decide what I'm going to do. And so that's the front part of the brain. Planning part, I'm sorry. And then you have the hippocampus. That's the area of the brain that stores your long-term memory. So it goes from short-term memory to long-term memory. And it also regulates your learning. And then we have the amygdala. So the amygdala is the almond part of the brain. The primary function is to help you with decision making and emotional responses. So that kind of goes back to the emotional wellness that I talked about previously. It's the part of the brain that helps you to process your fear and anxiety. Okay, so that part of the brain, it sets your alarm off in the brain. Can we change slides, please? So next one, please. So when you look at the amygdala, we talk about right now this pandemic, it causes trauma. It's causing trauma to our brain. So because this is something we've never experienced before. No one on here has experienced a pandemic. I think the last pandemic was in 1908. Which was the Spanish flu. And so we haven't experienced it. So it's causing increased activity to our brain. And so while this is the area that is supposed to help us process our emotions, you're starting to get all of these other responses. In addition, if you've ever experienced any trauma in your life, some of that trauma is coming up because you have all of this increased activity of the brain. Can we go to the next slide? So when we talk about trauma, when we talk one of the things we want to talk about is fear. So fear is an emotion, and as a result of fear, there are 4 responses to fear. So you have the fight, the face, the flight, or the freeze. So if we're in the fight or face stage, that's where you engage. That's where you engage in fear. That's where you engage in your response to fear. So if we're talking about that you've ever had any perceived traumatic event, this is a time that you may start to fight, or you may start to face. So fighting is, you may become you may start attacking, or you're angry, you begin to insult, or you blame others. That's the area. Somebody that may have experienced fear in the past, and they're fighting, they get scared, they run off, they hit, they swing, they do different things like that. Or you can be a person that faces the fear. And so with that, you connect to the emotion, you realize, I am fearful, I don't know what's gonna happen, and so you face it. Or you may flight, you ignore, you run away from it, you hide from it, you deny, you say things like, oh, I'm good, this is not gonna last long, this is a myth, this COVID-19 really is not true. So you avoid it, or you say things like, if I'm gonna get it, I'm just gonna get it. Or then you freeze. And so freeze, you shut down. You don't even talk about your emotions. Freeze is a scary place, because even as we have been in our home sheltering in place for the last couple of months, what can come up from freezing could be agoraphobia, which is the fear of going outside. So because people have not been outside, they may start fearing going back to work or going back to school. So those are some of the things that you want to look at in yourself, and even in your loved ones and friends. Are they saying, no, I don't want to go, I'm not going to go to the store? If they're continuing, as the country has opened up, if they're continuing to say, I'm just going to stay in, those are some signs that you need to look for, because we don't want agoraphobia to set up. Okay, can you go to the anxiety slide? Adrian, can you move the slide?
I think Adrian screen might have frozen up.
I'll reshare. It
Thank
freezes
you.
every now and then.
Okay,
Zoom? Yeah.
So as we're waiting for Adrian to share, let's talk about anxiety. So anxiety is a behavior. And as a result of anxiety, there are certain feelings that you may get. And that's embarrassment, or being helpless, being insecure, regret, being overwhelmed, depression, being feelings of rejection, disrespected, being offended. These are some of the feelings that we have. And I want to share a little bit. One of the biggest feelings of anxiety is grief. So I want to share a little bit about grief. So as a people, we just don't grieve well. We are used to things going our way. And, unless it's anticipatory grief, we usually struggle with grief. And even with anticipatory grief, there's a struggle. So anticipatory grief may be an example of someone who has cancer or has lung disease, and they may have been a person, they've been on hospice. So you anticipate it, but still, when it happens, when the passing of that person happens, there is grief. So Grief comes in 5 stages, and those stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And so, and these stages can be, there's no particular time frame for the stages of grief and how and what it causes. And so what happens is it's called complicated grief. So if we want to think about it, we can go all the way back to January, and I'm not for sure of the date, but I think it's January the 24th, the 25th, that Kobe Bryant died. That was the start of the grief for us here in 2020. And even though you may say, I didn't know him, he was a legend. He was a star. And so even though we may not, we didn't know him personally, we still grieved his loss. So we started having the complicated grief because you had Kobe, then you had COVID, and then all of the other things, even the grieving of the civil unrest. There are some things that are changed in this country. So even grieving some of those things, it has caused complicated grief. And it's also caused inhibited grief. We didn't ask for this to happen. We didn't have the space for it. So, we started to have inhibited grief. So when we look at these things, our mental health is impacted by the different things that we have struggled with. So I want to ask the question, I want to ask, what are some of the fears and anxieties that you're having? And even though, and if you can put that in the chat, what are some fears and anxieties that you're experiencing, not just with COVID-19, but also with the civil unrest that's going on in this country? So I see Elaine. Thank you, Elaine. You said you feel trapped. I see Gwyneth says fear. So helpless. So I'm looking at what people are writing, and this all, if we see the anxiety iceberg, this all is a part, these are feelings, and the behavior is anxiety. And so I saw a lot of people with no control, and even being a therapist, I'm gonna be honest, I like to be in control. I like to know what's gonna happen. So the fear of unknown, I've had my own share of anxiety. So I've had to work through some of my own anxiety of not knowing what's gonna happen. Can we go to the next slide?
It's not. It seems like nothing I do is making you all be able to see my screen, because I'm able to advance, but you're not able to see it.
Okay, so we'll just talk about,
I'll keep trying.
As we talk about these things, one of the things I also want to talk about, just giving a small overview of anxiety, some of the things that you could look for, you may be experiencing, you can look for this in some of your own physical symptoms, trembling, stomach churning, nauseated, diarrhea, having a headache, a backache, heart palpitation, numbness to your and tingling in your arms, your hands, or your legs, and also sweating, hard time going to sleep. Those are some symptoms, those are some physical symptoms of anxiety. So I want to talk about, let us discuss some of the ways, what are some things that we can do to get through, okay. Some of the ways that we can get through our emotional wellness check. So insomnia, you're correct, Danisha. So doing an emotional wellness check, and this is something that you can do with yourself, by yourself. You can do it with your partner, spouse, friends, co-workers, your children. And children are they're great people to do this emotional wellness with. So the emotional wellness check is not necessarily asking direct questions. So, and I even have to catch myself as well, because when I'm not working, I'm not a therapist. I'm a friend and I'm a mom and I'm a wife. So not asking direct questions, but just maybe saying things like, how are you doing? What's going on? How's your back feeling? Or how's your stomach feeling? Asking those different things, or listening out for someone who's saying that they've had a headache for the last couple of days, or, my back is hurting and they cannot say, give an example of what they did to make their back hurt. Also, especially when you're dealing with kiddos, young people, not asking direct questions. So when you ask, how are you feeling? Especially a teenager is going to say, I'm okay. And so you're not going to get a good answer, but create a space to communicate. And also just be honest. I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm messed up. I know that when this first started, a lot of my family and friends, they would call me and say, what is going on? And I guess they expected me to have an answer. And, I didn't have an answer. I said, I don't know. I'm feeling this the same way that you're feeling this. And, I'm scared as well. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what life is going to look like. And so just being real honest. And, one of my things, something that I just realized on Sunday, is I can't really wear lipstick because I have to wear a mask all the time. And I absolutely love lipstick. And so, I was upset. I was kind of upset for a little bit because I was like, I don't know how long we're going to have to wear these masks. And so I just was honest, and I shared that with a friend. And then also create an environment to converse. This is especially good if you have teenagers, young adults. Create an environment to converse. Also tell them, you start first. This is what's bothering me. These are some of my concerns. So just talk to them about that, and give them the opportunity to share, and share just what they want to share. Also, just watch for patterns. Watch for patterns of staying in the bed, or not wanting to even talk to their friends. I know a lot of people are going out now, but there are some people that still are not, as we spoke about earlier. But just the environment to converse, creating that environment around dinner, around snacks, watching a movie. Also, pay attention to the eyes of your loved one. What's in their eyes? How are their eyes looking? Did their eyes shift away when you started talking about COVID-19, or just the things that are going on in America right now? And also, if you have small children, one of the things to look for where their emotional wellness is concerned would be if they're more clingy. So if you have like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old that was really independent, really cared about sleeping in their own room, if all of a sudden they want to jump up in your lap and they want to get in the bed with you, they're wanting to sleep with you, they want to keep their light on. Those are things to look at to check on their emotional wellness. Can we turn? So mirror, mirror on the wall. So children will mirror what they see. So for those who have children or grandchildren or have young people around them, watch what they do, because children act out what adults will not express. So I remember the first week that my son was out of school, the first day, well, we got the call on that Sunday night, late Sunday night. And so a part of me knew that, wow, this is like really serious. But when we got the email, I think it was maybe about noon, we got a call about noon that Monday. I remember getting the the email, and I remember just, raising my voice, and I was like, did you get everything you needed at school? And he was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, did you get everything? I was like, because you're not going back to school, and I don't think you're going to go back. And so I had not even checked in with myself about how I was feeling. And as a result, he was just like, I don't know if I got everything. How am I supposed to know? So just talking to him, and I had to go back and say, I don't know what's going on. And I have looked, and I've done some research, and I've been reading, and this does not look good. And I was honest with him. I said, I've sat on several crisis teams at the schools that I worked at, and I was like, schools don't shut down. I was like, but I said, schools don't shut down. I don't know what's going on. And I said, we're just going to have to kind of play it by ear. And so just kind of creating the space, I would ask later on in the day, how are you doing? And of course, because he struggles with expressing himself socially, I just had to start watching what he was doing, watching the food that he was eating, watching how often he would go and work out, and just kind of talking to him as the time went on. And it didn't really get bad for him until after, when spring break was over, because it was like, okay, like we really are not going back to school. So, he started asking, so what does this mean for track season? So what does this mean? So I would, read the emails with him that we were getting from the school, but I was very careful of watching television in front of him, and watching the governor's update in front of him. And so just, and then just checking in with him when he would say things like, I have a headache. I would ask him what else is going on with him, how's he feeling? And then, eventually he was able to express that he was sad that he couldn't hang out with his friends, and not to mention his birthday was also at the early part of this pandemic. So just watching, your children, because they mirror and they act out what we want to express. Can we go to the next screen? So here's some activities that you can do with your children to cope with fear and anxiety. And I won't just say with your children, I will say just do it for yourself. There are adult coloring books, there's drawings, you can do journaling. One of the things that I do with a lot of my clients, and I also have incorporated it into my own daily life with my family, is just grateful journaling. Like what is it that you can be grateful for today? And so that's something that my family, we do on a daily basis, usually at the end of the day. TikTok videos, breathing techniques, dancing, housework, laughing, storytelling. And the reason I put these on here is, you gotta move your body. So even housework, you can put on some music, you can dance while you're doing the housework, because what you want to do is you want to move that trauma, you want to move that anxiety or that fear, you want to get it moved out of your body. Also, what happens is the more that you're moving, you awaken your endorphins. And so endorphins is the happy gene. It helps you to be happy and be alive. So doing some of these things, breathing techniques, one of the quickest ways to decrease your anxiety is breathing. And you do a 8-second hold, 8 seconds breathing in from your abdomen. You hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out of your nostril for 7 seconds. That's something that it decreases your anxiety immediately. So just being able to do some breathing, watching, like you said, watching TikTok videos, making your own TikTok videos. I still haven't made one, but that's on my list to do. So storytelling, one of the things I laughed with my son, and I was like, I can't imagine what it's like to have to be home with your mother. And I said, oh my God, I could not imagine being in the middle of a pandemic, living while my mother was living and I was a child. I mean, I couldn't imagine it. And so I, just told the story of how we couldn't sleep in late. We had to dust. We had to wash dishes. We were the dishwasher. And so just the storytelling, and I'm going to age myself, but I remember telling him about the blizzard of 77, how we couldn't get out for like 6 days, and just some of the things that we did in our house. And trust me, in those 6 days, I did feel like it was a pandemic, but that's for another time. You can go to the next slide. So here's some resources that I have put on here for you. And Danisha, if we have some moments, I can take a couple of questions if you would like me to, or if you would like for people to put them in the chat, and then I can answer them.
Yeah, if there's any questions, go ahead and type those in the chat. I love all the interaction that we've had today in the chat. This has been really helpful. If I can, Adrian, you can take the slide down now. Thank you so much for your help. And again, I'll have the slides on the diversity website today, along with the recording of this video. I just have a question my own self. As we are starting as an institution to start thinking about coming back into the office, and we're figuring out scheduling, and we're figuring out, who's coming, when they're coming, and all of that. The slide that you had up about the 4 different, it was like fear and flight and
face
and freeze. I thought that was really helpful as we start to think about coming back to work, and where are we at on that on that spectrum. Can you just talk a little bit about that, and how we can start addressing internally, well, this is more of a fear, or this is, I'm freezing in this moment, and how can we overcome that?
So thank you for asking that question. So one of the things, and I think, you could use this slide as a maybe an icebreaker for the people that are coming back. But your response to fear is, everybody's not going to have the same response to fear. You respond based on some of the trauma you may have experienced in your life. You respond based on your personality. So to say that everybody is going to have the fight response, that's not true. So I would, maybe use this and ask people to look, and if they are willing to share, they can share what emotion. So you can look at emotions, and emotions, the emotion that you have, a lot of times, it may, it will help you to understand what that person's response to fear may be. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't see any other questions, but you're still on the line, so that's fine. If any other questions come up, I'll make sure that we address them. Oh, Kate has a question. Kate, I can't mute you. I can't unmute you, so you'll have to just type the question out. Sorry.
Tracy,
I see
just as
something.
an aside, I really like what you said about using that as an icebreaker. I think that's really good. You use it with your teams. Where are you? Let's talk. I think that's really helpful. I love that idea.
Great.
Kate, I did unmute you. I found you, so go ahead and ask your question.
Excellent. My question was, I know it's really important for us right now to be taking care of our mental health and to take the time for self-care. But I often find with the overwhelming amount of work that needs to be done, I end up feeling guilty taking that time, which then means that I can't really do what needs to be done. So how can we, in this very busy world of ours with everything that's going on and feeling like we have to help others and be more proactive, how can we deal with that, with letting go of that guilt?
So if we go back to the emotional wellness definition. Remember, we talked about having some self-care. If you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to perform to your best, to the best ability. So just you have to carve that out. You have to carve that time, that self-care time. Even, maybe adding lavender just to a bubble bath and keeping the bubble bath maybe 10 minutes longer. Also, another thing, and I do this a lot with my clients, and I do guided imagery. So just like looking at like a nice warm place, thinking about the water at a beach, the smell of it. So just shutting your eyes for 4 or 5 minutes, doing a guided imagery. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is a great way to relieve some stress is watching Christmas movies. I don't know if people noticed that when we first got into the pandemic, Hallmark started having Christmas movies on Friday evenings. So watching Christmas movies or holiday movies, I don't want to say Christmas, but holiday movies, or looking at holiday pictures, that is another thing that will get your endorphins moving. It puts you in a happy place. So just finding some time to be in that happy place. But I would encourage you to find some time. You have to be able to find at least 5 to 10 minutes a day. And that's on the low end, to take care of your emotional wellness. Because when we're not emotionally well, we don't make great emotional decisions. We don't, fear and anxiety sets up. We're overwhelmed, we're tired. And so we may react or interact with people in a negative way. So, it has to be imperative that you have your emotional wellness together.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That was really helpful. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer. Thank you also for being with us today. The majority of folks on this chat are Ivy Tech employees, so I wanted to make sure that we had some time to just talk about employee benefits and how can we use as many of the employee benefits that we have that we're paying for. Can you just talk to us about some different benefits that we have for our employees to assist in any mental health issues that they may be facing?
Sure, I'm happy to, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here today. First, I want to mention that all of our well-being programs are on the BeLivey webpage of the benefits website. You can access the benefits website through My Ivy. There's a link under the employee dashboard. As far as benefits that are targeted towards mental and emotional health, I mean, the first one is our health plan. And so that's a big piece of it. It's available to our full-time benefit eligible employees. And so, of course, our health plan has a just a huge network of providers available. Those providers are doing both in-person and teletherapy, much like Tracy had mentioned that she's doing a lot of that. The next is really exciting, is our employee assistance program, or we call it an EAP. We are launching, the timing of this is perfect, as we're launching a new EAP on July 1st. This is the first statewide EAP that's available. An EAP provides counseling, resources on their website, coaching to our full-time employees and those living in their homes at no cost to the employee. And so I think the counseling sessions, there are up to 6 counseling sessions per issue. And so that a lot of people don't realize that that's available, and it is, and we're thrilled to offer it. Again, if you have full-time employment at someplace else, more than likely your employer does have something similar to an employee assistance or EAP program. Ivy Assist, I saw a shout out to Cash Stromecki earlier. How Ivy Assist is available. It's free or low cost access to a number of different services, but there are a number of mental health services available. It's under the health section of Ivy Assist. And of course, the state, I mean, our communities are offering a tremendous number of resources as well. With the state of Indiana has launched Be Well website, 211 is going statewide. And I just want to make sure I talk about all this. Denisha, I know you talked about our own programs, but you know, there just are a number of resources available to people that they just have to know how to find them. And so we want to help do that.
Thank you, Jennifer. And maybe I'm just speaking from my own opinion, but there's a stigma related to mental health, right? No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to say that they're dealing with mental health issues or concerns. How do we work around that stigma and ensure that all of our employees are taking advantage of the EAP program, for example, in getting those counseling sessions? Someone mentioned that they've met with their therapist over Zoom and it's just as helpful as being face-to-face. How do we work through that stigma with our employees to ensure that we're all being our best selves?
That's a great question. And it's a huge question, right? You know, that stigma of seeking treatment or maybe admitting that you're not 100%. And I think conversations like this are really important. It's important that we're talking about that we're not all okay all the time. And that, you know, and being supportive of each other and seeking out help when we can. The Employee Assistance Program and really anything that you're doing on a medical plan are all confidential. So we don't know. We know that people are using the Employee Assistance Plan, the EAP. We don't know who, and that's important because that anonymity is really, if with that stigma intact, you know, somebody should be able to seek those services and not have to worry about anyone else finding out. Privacy is key. But, you know, this topic is near and dear to my heart. My husband is a mental health therapist. And so we do think, both of us have talked about how important it is to keep the conversation open and just again, that recognition of it's okay not to be 100% okay all the time and ask for help. You know, our statewide HR team is pretty fantastic. And I think knowing that there's opportunities to talk to people that they know how to help you find resources as well, and that it's okay to ask for help and that there's a confidentiality there. I see Barbara said, yes, it's okay not to be okay. Yes.
Thank you. What about our family members? Can our family members have access to all of these benefits?
Most of them. So if your family members are enrolled in the health plan, then yes, absolutely. They have access to any of those resources on that. The EAP, again, is open to anyone that lives in your household. And actually, there's one other benefit that I wanted to mention that I'd forgotten about that may not be intuitive to think about right away. And it's a benefit that we launched last year called Your Money Line. You may know Your Money Line or be familiar with Pete the Planner. Your Money Line is financial education and counseling. And it's not one of those where, you know, you're going to attend a webinar on budgeting and then take that and try to apply it to your own individual situation. It's one-on-one support. It's talking to a financial professional who can meet you where you are today. So much of where we are and a lot of our emotional health and stress is really can be tied to our finances. And this is again a benefit that's available to employees, our full-time employees and members of their household, but you can also access it through IV Assist. I would encourage that. It really is a wonderful resource that is different than any sort of financial education or counseling program that I've seen out there. Quick shout out to Kat. Again, she's our IV Assist expert. I do know, again, IV Assist is available to all of our employees and all of our students and technically available to our community as well. I wanted to, sorry to Danisha, I'm gonna see if Kat had anything else that she wanted to add with respect to IV Assist.
Okay, let me see if I can find Kat to unmute her. There she is.
I'm sorry I put you on the spot, Kat.
Hey, no problem. I totally love talking about IB Assist, so all good. So yeah, IB Assist is available to our faculty and staff. And then also, and I put that link in the chat. You can get to it through my IB, you can get to it through the IB Cares webpage too. We do have a link that's for community folks to use as well. It doesn't require the IB Tech username and password to log on. And just so you know, if you're concerned about me having a list of who signs on, I don't have a list of who signs on. I just get a number of how many people sign on. So it is confidential, at least in that way. You know, we are adding resources to IB Assist all the time. It doesn't just include mental health, it includes all types of things. One of our most commonly used searches is for food and food insecurity. We also see a lot of searches for housing insecurity. Lately, it's been a lot of searches for emergency loans and that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty robust website. If you've not been on it, I highly recommend just checking it out, especially if you might refer students to it. So yeah, it's totally great, adding stuff all the time. They've been, Aunt Bertha is the hosting company, and I love that that's their name. And they have done nothing but update resources and add things over these last 3 months. So that way users know that the organization information has been updated to reflect what's going on with COVID-19. They've even flagged some of the resources as being COVID-19 resources, so that's been really helpful. The main difference between the community site and the IB Tech site, with the exception of logging on, is the IB Tech site has some resources that are specific to IB Tech. So for example, some of our food pantries are not open to folks outside of IB Tech, and so those are listed on our site, and they have a flag on those resources. So that is really helpful to students and faculty and staff who are looking for specific resources on their campus. So, but yeah, I could talk about it all day.
Thank you, Kat.
All
right.
I just want I see that there were a couple of questions in the chat. Thank you, Danisha. To Kate, yes, the EAP sessions, the 6 sessions are free. They're at no cost to the employee or to whomever is actually using the services. And those are renewed every year. And it's actually 6 sessions per, like I said, per issue. So if you're going in because you have work stress that you're trying to work through, there are 6 sessions associated with that. And then if later you are maybe going through, you've lost a parent, there are 6 sessions associated with that. So those are free. We're, again, really excited. Keep an eye out on July 1st. This is coming, so we're extremely excited about that. Deshawn, you had said there was a series of articles regarding waiving of copays. If for those that are enrolled in our health plan, we have waived those copays for the telehealth visits, and so we are seeing that, at least that's through the end of September. A number of providers are also doing that. So if you're not on the college's health plan and you're maybe on, if you're at full-time someplace else, you're on your full-time employer's plan, or maybe a parent or your spouse's plan, certainly reach out to your benefit department to find out what's available there and the costs associated with that.
All right, thank you. So, oh, one more. How will the change in EAP affect people currently using the old EAP?
Fantastic question. If you're using maybe one of your current providers, so let me just say that each campus had an individual relationship with an EAP vendor, and now we're moving again to that one statewide. Those sessions restart. So if you've been seeing somebody for a specific reason and you've already had 4 sessions this year, then that restarts with the 6 sessions. You would want to reach out to Humana directly to find out if the provider is a network. Humana does have a very large network, and so hopefully that provider that you've been seeing is in that network. If not, I mean, certainly we can work with Humana to see if there's if they can persuade the provider to join the Humana network. So we're excited to have that benefit start. And again, more information is going to be coming out from systems office, benefits department, and our campus HR team. Question about paying for COVID testing. The testing is covered. If you're in our health plan, the testing for COVID-19 is covered at 100%. There are no copays associated with that. The treatment for COVID-19 is not covered at 100%. And so that's important to go to an in-network provider. Of course, our network is Anthem, and they're all across the country and have a very broad network.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you have any other questions for Jennifer, Jen, could you please just put your email address in the chat?
Absolutely.
If folks have specific questions about any of our benefits. So I want to thank both Tracy and Jen for taking your time and extending your expertise to us here at Ivy Tech. The information has been so invaluable as we continue to dissect the intersections of diversity, equity, and belonging in the wake of COVID. Attendees, if you would like to submit any additional questions, comments, concerns, or feedback, please email us at diversity@ivytech.edu. We value everyone's opinions, and your feedback will help us as we determine our next steps in programming. So next week is our final week for the diversity series around the intersections in the wake of COVID. And next week's session, we'll be discussing how are we staying connected in a virtual world? While we are working remotely and priorities have shifted, how has mentorship and networking been impacted by COVID-19? Let's engage to learn tips for ensuring how you stay connected with your network and how to sustain your professional relationships from afar. Again, the recordings are on both the Ivy Tech Community College YouTube page and also on the diversity website on Ivy Tech. So that's www.ivytech.edu/diversity. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.